new project. I shot a bunch of video for another project, and I think I alluded to it with my last video, and well, this is something completely different. I ended up shooting something like 10 hours worth of video for that other one, and I kind of looked at it and I thought, man, that's insane, that's going to take me forever to edit. Eventually get around to it, but I thought maybe I would kind of do more of a highlight sort of thing. So anyway, I decided I wanted to do something that was round instead of square, and that used curves in it. So this is kind of the design I came up with a couple of iterations, doing scratching and stuff like that. Here, this one, I kind of look like I did the planet Jupiter, and that wasn't too terribly, I don't think it was too terribly inspiring. And I came up with this rough sketch, and it eventually morphed into this. So this is what I went with, and I made the original template and had cut it out, and then I used a tracing table, actually a tracing pad, and my paper on it, and this is the tracing from that tracing pad. I also have another copy as a backup just in case something goes wrong with this. So yeah, one of them, actually, this is going to be my template that I kind of lay everything out on. Okay, and this is probably the most complicated thing I've ever done. I'm trying to think. When I was 14 or 15, I made a chicken. Maybe it was a rooster. I can't remember. It was on a pattern that was bought from a stained glass supply store way back when, in the dark ages. But this is what I came up with, and when I first, after I gotten all this sketched out and all the pieces labeled, that's very important. Keep track of stuff, what's going on. I thought, well, this is going to be insane to cut out. You know, I tried to imagine how I was going to cut out this glass and keep these points intact and stuff like that. And then I saw a video on cutting glass done by Philip McKee, and he's got some very good video series, basic video series on Monkey See. And he introduced me to this tool called the Morton safety brake, and this has just been absolutely wonderful to work with. I mean, for those of you, this is old hat, it's probably not a big deal, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you out there who probably rolled their own safety brakes rather than buying it. But this isn't too expensive. I think it was like 25 bucks on Amazon, so not too bad. Maybe you could buy it, find a better deal elsewhere online. But that's what I've been using, and I'll just do a quick run through of how I've been using this tool, or how to use it, at least how I use it. I don't consider what I do to be the final say in how to do this sort of stuff. But anyway, I've got, yeah, I actually had a copy of this pattern, and then I took it and cut out individual pieces using pattern shears. Did that, and so I've got a few remaining pieces in there to cut out. And when I first started cutting out pieces, I would just basically cut out straight strips, you know, kind of trying to lay pieces out on the strip and try to see which ones would work best to minimize the waste of glass. And it was just kind of seeming like I couldn't get a good balance. It just seemed like I was just wasting a lot of glass using a strip. So I just decided to go ahead and kind of do this a little bit more organically on my glass, just kind of lay each piece out and just cut it out one piece at a time, trying to find out which piece fits best in a given space, and then liberate that piece from the main chunk of glass and then cut it out from there. So I'm thinking I might be a little bit more efficient on how I'm using my glass. I'm not 100% absolutely confident that I'm actually getting more pieces out of a given piece of glass using this method, but that's kind of what I had decided to go with. So let me take a piece, try to find one that'll kind of fit in here a little bit like that. That'll work. This one will work. Let me zoom in for you. A little closer. Yeah, it kind of fits fairly well. And I try to leave about at least a quarter of an inch of glass around the edges I cut. It gives something to, enough glass for the safety brake to really work well. You wouldn't want to go anything less than a quarter of an inch. So quarter to 3/8 of an inch I find kind of works fine for me. And let's see. So I just kind of take my Sharpie and draw. Oops. Move this around. Draw an arc around this, because that's what I'm going to use to liberate this piece. And in all the glass cutting videos you'll see the reason why you want to liberate the chunk that you're actually going to use for your piece. In case something goes wrong, you don't want to just end up screwing up the whole piece of glass. You want to basically determine, you take your piece and you lay it out and cut the right size, liberate a piece out, so in case something goes wrong you don't end up wasting a whole piece of glass. So that's kind of a fairly common sense thing. So go ahead and cut it. This is a fairly rough line here, so I'm not going to be too precise. And I'm actually going to use the safety brake to liberate that piece. Just a little button here, a little post in there, kind of keeps it from moving around too much. And so I want to put the score basically right on top of the center of this little button here. Okay, so tip it up there, and in the center, find the approximate center of here of your piece, liberated piece, and I'm going to put this at a 90-degree angle to the score. All right, and then just push down. Look at that. Perfect. Well, just a liberated piece, so it's kind of sloppy, but you kind of get what I mean. So anyway, I've got that liberated. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to take my piece, set it down here. And what I'm going to do is take my Sharpie marker and trace around this piece. So let's go here, and I've just been holding it down by hand, and that seems to work fine. I think in other situations maybe you'd need to use a glue stick and put some tack on the back of this and tack it down, but so far for these pieces it's kind of worked okay. So I take my Sharpie starting at one end and just run it along the edge pattern piece like that. I'm going to hold it down, rearrange my fingers like that, then do it again here. Pull it down again, my fingers here, and then along there. Like that. The next thing I'm going to do is label the piece to-A-L. Like that. Put this off to the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out.